YouTube, it's Erin, and I am the Handbag Housewife, and I'm back again with another video. Today's video, I'm going to cover my handbag journey, and I want to talk to you about 10 handbags that I have in my collection today that I didn't think I would ever own at some point in this process of getting to where I am. And for many of these 10 handbags, I do have multiples of, and so I'm going to just show you one of the multiples because otherwise it would be like 40 handbags, which would be way too much. But as it is, I have it narrowed down to 10 styles I thought I would never own. And if I'm blessed to own multiples of those, well, then that's just an added bonus. So let's start out with the bag I want to talk about first. And that would be the Neo Alma BB. So in 2019, I visited Hawaii with my husband's family, and I went to Louis Vuitton specifically to look at the Damier Ebene Alma BB. And I tried it on and I didn't like it. I mean, I felt like it was really hard, and when I wore it crossbody, those handles were really pokey. It just was not very comfortable. But I tried on the larger version of this bag, and it was night and day better. Like, I loved it. In 2019, I was into bigger bags, and the price of that larger size, which I believe is the PM instead of the BB, it was just way out of my handbag budget at that time. I went with plans to buy I think around a $1,400 bag, and that one was up over $2,000. And so I had to pass on it. And then later on in my journey, I did manage to pick this up directly from Louis Vuitton. I think I got this one right before my YouTube channel began. But basically, my spending threshold gradually has went up. And during the whole pandemic, I began collecting contemporary brands and brands that bordered luxuries such as Coach, Marc Jacobs, Longchamp, and I amassed a very large collection of those items. And before YouTube ever began for me, I was also selling and buying, not just buying. And so I did a fair amount of selling of things that didn't work for me and was able to go ahead and, I guess, trade up or trade into this beauty. Another bag that I looked at back in 2019 when I visited Hawaii was the V-Tote BB, just like this one, except for the one I looked at was black right here. And I really loved it. But again, it was close to $2,000 back then, and that was just over my budget. My budget was like $1,500-ish tops, and it was just creeping too close to that $2,000 mark, so I passed. And then later on in this past year, I was delighted to see this bag pop up on Rebag, and I was able to pick it up for a really good price of, I believe, under $1,500, and I traded an item in that wasn't working for me, which was the Fendi Peekaboo in the soap color with the rose gold hardware. And so I got this bag in that way, and this was one of the bags that I didn't think I would ever own back in 2019. Now, times are a-changing, and what I think is okay to buy has changed since then, as you will see as we go through the progression of these 10 bags I'm showing you today. I don't remember the exact date that I acquired my Chanel Classic Flap medium large in the black with gold hardware, but I do know I was collecting luxury bags at that time, and it was before my YouTube channel. And this is a bag I thought I would never have, and of course has a much higher price point than either of the first two bags that I just showed you. And at the time, my husband and I would occasionally go to an event in the town that we live in for charity, and whenever we were there, there would be other wives of physicians who would be carrying Chanel bags, and I would look at them, and I would look at my Louis Vuitton bag, and I would say wistfully, it would be nice to have one of these, but I just can't imagine for the price that they are. And he looked at me and he said, why don't you just sell some of your bags and buy one? And I thought about it and I thought, you know, he's right. If I sold 2 or 3 of my luxury bags, I could probably get one of these on the pre-loved market. And that's exactly what I did, but I needed kind of his permission to make that happen. I wasn't comfortable going out and spending over $3,000 at that time on a handbag. I had never done anything like that before. My top had been, I think, around $2,000 at that point. So I did sell my Saint Laurent mixed envelope bag before I got this one, and I'm sure some others, but that one I know was one that I sold. It was one that I got as a placeholder for this particular bag. I thought it would make me not want this bag anymore. And it didn't work because the mixed envelope Saint Laurent bag, the flap on it is just so incredibly stiff to open. This is very malleable. And yes, I know it has the double flap, but to me, it still opens up so nicely and so easily. Even with the double flap, I find it easier to use than that bag, and the capacity is the same, if not more. And so this bag is a perfect example of one that I never thought I would have, and here it is in my collection. Back in 2017, when my husband gave me my first luxury bag, which was my Berry MM by Louis Vuitton, I became obsessed with luxury bags. And in hindsight, I'm sure he looks back and says, why did I ever give her a luxury bag? But I immersed myself in YouTube videos at that time to learn as much as I could about the luxury handbag market and what other bags maybe I should be interested in. It started slowly with me finding other canvas bags by Louis Vuitton to serve other purposes. The Berry MM had a lot of Vacata leather, and I was worried about taking it out in the rain. One of the YouTube channels that I did watch a lot was Shea Whitney, and she's kind of changed gears these days, and I don't watch her so much anymore, but her channel started out as a luxury handbag channel. And one of the bags that she showed a lot was her Gucci Marmont bag in the porcelain rose shade, and it was like this one, but the bigger size. And I looked at that bag and I loved it. And it wasn't just her who had it. There were other ones too, but I don't remember which ones. I mean, maybe Chase Amy, maybe Lux Mommy, I can't remember. But the initial inspiration for me was Shea Whitney, and her bag was bigger, but it was essentially this bag. And I loved it. And I did not think I could afford it because it was a $2,500-ish bag. Back then it might have been $2,200, but still over the $2,000 mark. Didn't think it was going to ever happen. So what did I do? I bought the camera version of this bag. And I didn't really feel like it served the same aesthetic for me as this bag. And so I sold it. And I had some issues with the first one I got. It was pre-loved and it had a little bit of an issue that I didn't see until it was too late. So I ended up buying that bag back again. And I don't know, it just didn't do it for me. So I sold it a second time. And I've since discovered I absolutely love the Gucci camera bag. The Gucci Marmont small shoulder bag is what it's called, I think. But I didn't love it in that color as much as I loved this style in this color. And so I did find somebody whose name is Shani Matthews, and I've talked to you about her before. She runs an Instagram page called Jessa Luxe Closet. I can link it down below, but she was able to order me this bag directly from Matches Fashion, and I paid under $2,000 for it. So my threshold for what was okay is now creeping up because I went from like an $1,100 camera bag to an almost $2,000 Gucci Marmont flap bag. But to me, this bag is the one that I should have got all along because I lost money when I sold both of the other ones. I should have just got this one all along and I would have come out a lot better than I did. A lesson can be learned here, and that's if you really want something, it's better to save your money for the thing you really want than to get the substitute in most cases. Now that's not always true, but it is a lot of the time. So another bag story along those same veins would be the small Lulu by Saint Laurent. At the time I got this one, it was just under $2,000 retail. And I got this one, I believe, for 10% off with no tax through a platform called Orchard Mile. I don't think you can get that deal anymore. And plus, these are, I think, $29.50 now. They've raised their prices substantially, and I feel very blessed to have the multiple collection I have of this bag today. But I bought the Toy Lulu, and I bought 2 of the Lou camera bags, or the medium Lou shoulder bags, before I got this one. And this is the one I really wanted. I almost never use my Toy Lulu. I couldn't bear to part with it though, because it's so cute, and I think someday I'll wear that dress in the summertime and that bag will be the bag to wear. But this is the bag I wanted all along. It's the one I wanted first. And I love the Lou camera bags. They're very functional. I don't wear them that often, but they're great bags. But this is the one that I felt like was unattainable, yet I bought 3 bags that totaled more than this one, and I could have just had the one I really wanted to start with. Am I making sense? Probably not. This probably all sounds a bit nuts to you, but I want to just kind of give you a peek into the craziness of my mind in terms of thinking that smaller purchases are okay, but bigger purchases are not, because I feel like that's what I did. I could have had those dream bags I wanted that I thought were unattainable all along if I hadn't bought smaller ones to fill the gap in the meantime. Moving on to another Saint Laurent bag. After I acquired the small Lulu, I decided that I was gonna just go for some pre-loved options. I thought I may be able to get an amazing deal on something, making it thus more attainable, and I found one. I found a collage bag on Mercari. So Mercari authenticated it with photographs, and then I authenticated it again upon receipt. But I got this Rouge Legion collage bag in the medium size, and this was the first of the collage bags in my collection. And I found that on the pre-love market, and 3 of the ones I have bought on the pre-love market, I was able to get about a 30% discount on these bags. And out of all the Saint Laurent styles, this one is still the most attainable flap style bag you can get, because it's priced, I think, at $25.50 now. It's only went up like $100 in the last 4 years, unless something's happened recently. But it was actually more expensive than the small Lulu at the time I was buying the small Lulu. So I felt like this was out of reach, because $24.50 was a crazy amount of money, way crazier than the $19.50 that the small Lulu was, especially when I got that extra 10% off. But I was able to get this one, I think, for around $1,700. I have been super happy with it. And actually 3 of the 4 collage bags in my collection I have picked up that way on the pre-loved market. The final of the collage bags that I have is the Sharon blue one, and I picked that one up from a website called forward.com, and that's a legitimate website. I think it's kind of a sister site to Revolve, and it's run by Elise Walker. And I have found some tremendous deals on that website that have made several of my fashion bags accessible, at least to whatever standard I was holding at the moment of purchase. So the next bag I'm going to talk about, again, Saint Laurent, but then I'm going to be done talking about Saint Laurent, and we're going to move on to some other brands. And that would be the puffer bag in the dark honey shade. Now, of course, I have 4 puffer bags now. This one I got from Jessa Luxe, again from Matches Fashion, and I think it was around $2,200. So that was right around the time that they were doing their price changes and bumping these up over $3,000. So I snuck in under the wire to secure this bag. And this was a bag that when I originally saw it, I saw it on Kat L's channel. I really like watching Kat L and Fashionably Amy, and Kat L bought this bag but in black with silver hardware and used it as her Chanel 19 substitute. Now, finding a Chanel 19 substitute is something I have done recently as well. I actually bought the small Lulu in black with gold hardware as a substitute for the Chanel 19. And you would think, oh, that's a mistake. All these other substitutes or, placeholders that you've bought have been failures. And I would say, yeah, that's kind of true. But in most cases, those placeholders are still with me. So I liked the bag, but I ended up not only buying the placeholder, but I bought the real deal as well. Well, in this situation, the Saint Laurent Small Lulu in the black with the gold hardware, it is here to stay, and the Chanel 19's not coming my way because when I tried it on in person, it just didn't fit me as comfortably as I would have liked it to. When Cat L was originally showing her puffer bag, I thought, oh, that's out of my price range. But see, I'm learning because when I started buying Louis Vuitton bags, I just looked at whatever price they were and decided if they were affordable or not affordable without taking into consideration that you can sometimes get them pre-loved for lower prices. And not with Louis Vuitton, but with other brands like Saint Laurent and even Prada and even Gucci and even Dior, you can find deals because not only are there outlets, but there's the secondary market where oftentimes you can buy through a reseller at a discounted price and still get brand new items. And that's not even taking into account that most of these are not holding their resale value, and you can get virtually brand new items on the resale market. So the bags, in a lot of cases, which I thought I could never have because they were too much money, I was able to get for those reasons. So this is one of those cases, and it led to me buying 3 more, and I was able to secure those 3 for even better deals on that Forward website by Elise Walker. It's like fwrd.com. There are discount codes that you can use on these. Sometimes they get marked down. I mean, I think I got my Crema Soft one for like $1,600 all in. And at the time, it was literally right after the price increase, and it was retailing for over $3,000. So the last 3 bags consist of 1 Dior and 2 Louis Vuitton bags I never thought I would have. And I do want to talk with regards to Dior about the first one, which is a Lady Dior. I did pick up a Lady Dior bag in a metallic micro canage. That was one of the bags I thought I'd never have because when I got it, the prices were like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on those bags. They're, I think, around $7,000 now. When I actually bought it, they may have been $5,500 or $6,000, but that was way, way, way out of my price range. But I knew that the Lady Dior did not hold its value on the resale market, so that's where I looked, and I found the one I found, I believe, for around $1,600 or $1,700. So again, we're looking at a price threshold of what I was comfortable with almost at the start of my luxury journey because I was willing to look pre-loved. And when I got that bag, it was literally almost perfect. Sadly, out of all 10 of these bags that I once aspired to have but didn't think I could because of the price point that they had, the Lady Dior is one that I did end up selling because it just wasn't functional for me like the other bags I have in my collection. I have one other one I'm going to show you that I don't find super functional, but it's still more functional than the Lady Dior was. So I ended up getting the Caro bag, and again, this is over my budget at retail. I don't want to spend over $4,000 on a handbag. I don't want to spend over $2,500 on a handbag. That's sort of the top of what I'm comfortable with. But this one was a splurge, kind of like the Chanel Classic Flap, and cost around the same amount as I spent on the Chanel Classic Flap a few years back. And I feel like it was worth it. I love it so much. I bought it in another color. When I picked up the rust, I got it from the Dior outlet, and it was like $2,600 or around that point. Almost half off. It was at least 40% off. And so I know now with regards to these bags, if I were to ever add another one, that's the route I would take. I've never told you this, but I did stumble across this one on the pre-loved market. I went to Dior in Chicago. I found out that it was $4,600, which was out of my budget. I found out that if I got it from Hawaii, it would be $4,300, which was, again, out of my budget. That was more than I had ever spent on a handbag, and the Chanel Classic Flap was the highest of that point. The resale value on these isn't fantastic. It's not bad. It's better than the Lady Dior in terms of the percentage you get versus the total, but I still wasn't comfortable with going over 4,000. And I had seen one of these on eBay quite some time ago, and I actually got to the point I was almost ready to buy it. And not only was I almost ready to buy it, I bought it. And the lady who sold it to me, as she was packing it up, she sent me photographs of this little turn lock and said it's got dents in it. And she didn't know they were there. And so she showed it to me and I pulled out. I said, I wanted it more new than that, and so I pulled out. After trying it on in Chicago, I actually started communicating with her again and asked her if she still had the bag. She had pulled it off eBay, but she still had the bag. I had come across her on Facebook as well, so we communicated through Messenger. She sent me so many photos, so there would be no doubt in my mind that this was the bag for me, and that is how I got this one. So I never told you that story. I could have got it from Hawaii for $4,300, but I ended up paying around $3,400 for this bag, and that was shipped with no tax, and so I'm very excited about it. It did have a couple little dents right here, and I do have a sticker protecting it from Cactus Wren Creatives there on the turn lock. And that really almost minimizes the appearance of the dents that were there. They're not really scratches, they're like dents. When I used my coral one for like a day, it got like 2 or 3 little dents in it right there, just from opening and closing it. So if you have this bag, I would recommend these hardware protectors. I'll link Cactus Wren Creatives down below because they do a fabulous job of minimizing dents happening. I'm sure they're still going to happen, but it will help minimize it. It's a nice thick film designed for car automotive paint to keep it in good condition, and it shouldn't damage the hardware on your bag. I can't promise that, but I have had great success with it. I put it on, I've taken it off, and so far, so good. So the Dior Caro bag wasn't really one that I thought way back I could never have that, but it became a Dior substitute for me, and this is so much better for me than the Lady Dior, which is the one I aspired to have, that I wanted to throw it in there as kind of a wild card. I have 2 bags left to show you, and these are both Louis Vuitton kind of pinnacle bags, although Louis Vuitton has come out with a new pinnacle line, and that's the Go 14. I've tried on the Go 14. I think the Go 14 is amazing, and right now I would aspire to get it, but it's out of my reach. So only time will tell if that changes in the future, but for now, one of the styles I felt like was out of my reach was the Capucines. And these bags, they retail for like $6,800 plus tax. I got this Capucines by trading a couple of the bags that weren't working for me quite as well as some cash, but less than the cash outlays that I've talked about on the other bags. And that made it a lot more palatable to get it. And then I went ahead and I picked up this Louis Vuitton chain, which is a tritone colored chain with gold, rose gold, and gunmetal from the secondary market. And I think it's just dreamy. If I were ever to go into the store to Louis Vuitton to buy a Capucines, I would probably buy one of the bedazzled ones. I really like the ones that have like the mother of pearl almost crown up at the top. But when I dreamt about having a Louis Vuitton Capucines, it was always in the Gallet color. I really like the ones that had the snakeskin handle. I think I saw Isabel Style had that one and I was in love, but thought I could never have it. But I do have it, and I have it because I took an avenue that made it more palatable to me and to my budget of trading items that weren't working for me, and also some cash and getting the bag of my dreams. And I love this bag. It's super comfortable to carry, but I want to be careful with it so I don't carry it a whole lot. So we are to number 10 of the bags that I thought I would never have, but that I do now. So what I did is I substituted once again. When the Busey bag came out in the epi leather and had the 2 straps with the big plaque on the front that says LV in enamel, I felt like that bag was a placeholder, maybe not a placeholder, but an actual replacement for the Louis Vuitton twist. I didn't really see why you would pay a whole lot more for a twist when the Busey bags were so beautiful. And I like the Busey bag so much, I actually bought two. I have it in quartz, and I also have it in the blue nuage shades. Love those bags. They're super comfortable, super functional, glad to have them. And then I went to Chicago with Joshy. A lot of these things keep going back to Chicago with Joshy. He seems to be a troublemaker in terms of what I think is okay to spend. Maybe we need to have a little talk about that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I tried on the twist handbag at the Louis Vuitton store in Chicago, and I tried it on in the cream color. I'm not sure if it was cream or quartz, but a creamy color. And I loved it. Now, when I was trying on bags in Chicago, I was trying them on with a off-white blazer with shoulder pads. And I think that was a bit of a mistake because it made a lot of bags really comfortable that might not be comfortable in other situations, like perhaps with the sweater that I'm wearing right now, which is really thin. So I came back home thinking I'm going to get that twist bag someday. And see, my mindset changed again, but I knew that the twist could be gotten on the resale market for great prices. So I just wanted to find the right one. And I didn't want to get cream because I got the Busey in cream and I didn't want to replace it. And I didn't really want to get black, although I love the black because I have the Chanel Classic flap in black and the Alma BB in black. But I was okay with getting black. So that was still something I was looking at. And then I came across the bag I got. And if you watch my channel, you know that the bag I got was this beautiful twist in a pale gray called Grease. And this bag is a facets bag. It's not the regular twist logo. It's the facets line, which means that this hardware has actual lines through it instead of being rounded. And I don't know if that makes it heavier. I've tried carrying this without the chain it came with, which is definitely heavier duty than the chain on the off-white one that I tried on in the store. But let me just tell you, this bag is heavy. I weighed it again the other day. I think it's 2 pounds and 9.5 or 10.5 ounces. It's really heavy. It's heavy just holding it, and it's completely empty except for a Zumani insert. And it's so heavy, it's virtually painful when I carry it. That said, I love the bag. This is sort of like the Capucines. It's a bag I'm not going to carry except for special occasions. And it's such a beautiful color, and I love how the hardware glistens and sparkles. So I'm definitely going to suffer and carry this for special occasions. And I think I just might only carry it when I'm wearing a blazer, which just happens to be appropriate for a special occasion. So this is my blazer bag. This is what I'm going to wear blazers with. But I picked up this bag again on the pre-love market. Originally, the first one I got from Fashion File, and when it arrived, it didn't have this charm. And I looked on the Louis Vuitton website, and the bag was still available. It was over $5,000, I think. And I paid around $2,600 on Fashion File. So I contacted Louis Vuitton and asked them if I could get this piece, and it was $390. And I was like, heck no, that's not happening. And I have actually taken it and put it on a little Louis Vuitton-esque clip with some hardware I had from a chain from Next Fashion so that I can clip it on just like so. But normally you would clip it on like right up here to the chain. This moves and opens and closes. And just in my closet, doing it that way, it has fallen on the floor of the closet once already. And so I was sort of worried about losing it that way. And so I decided, since it's like a $390 thing to replace, I would just create a way to hook it on that would be a bit more secure. The Fashion File bag, since it was missing a part and it was also an employee bag, which had a little V stamped next to the Made In stamp on the inside of the bag with a circle on it, I decided to go ahead and return that bag to Fashion File when I found out how much the missing charm cost, because I had seen this bag on eBay and it was touted as being brand new, and of course it had the charm. Now, it very well may have been brand new. When it came, it had a little bit of dents and dings on this front plate. This front plate's now covered with that same 3M film that Cactus Wren Creatives uses, and so hopefully I can prevent more of those little dents and dings. And then also I was able to get the little charm, which I do think adds a lot to the bag. So this bag's heavy. It's not meant to be an everyday bag. My Chanel's not meant to be an everyday bag either, but I do really love it. And so it's not going anywhere, even though my arm is really hurting now and I've got to put it down. But that is the 10. Those are the 10 bags that I didn't ever think I'd have. I mean, that's why I bought the Busey bag instead of this. And then I saw it in person and I figured out a way to make it happen within my budget. A lot of selling of bags happened along this journey, and also some YouTube income and some product linking income and some fun money from my husband and some gifts from my family to make these 10 bags a reality for my collection. But I just thought of this idea today after all the consideration about how my collection got from point A to point Z, or whatever point we're on. And surely we're not at Z. We've got to be more like at S, because I surely have several more years to modify and change my collection as I grow and my lifestyle changes. I would encourage any of you out there who have evolved your collection over the years to please comment down in the comment section and let me know if there were any bags that you thought you would never get, and tell me how you were able to get them if you ended up doing so. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Do it and ring the notification bell so that you are notified of future exciting content such as this. Also, go find me on Instagram. The name there is the same. It's the @ then the Handbag Housewife, all lowercase. You can DM me there, or you can email me at thehandbaghousewife@gmail.com. If I don't hear from you, I will see you again real soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye.